They told me she was dead. 6 months ago, Arelian vanished during a recon sweep near the Cardis Rift, a turbulent region known for ion storms and fractured warp signals. One moment she was at my wing, her massive silhouette cutting through the clouds like a blade of gold and fire. The next, the comms went dead. No distress ping. No biofeedback. Just nothing. I searched the feeds for hours. Days. I even disobeyed command and doubled back into restricted zones, looking for any sign of her, broken hull fragments, scorched wing plating, a burnt-out transponder. Nothing. They called off the search. Said it was hopeless. Said she probably burned up on impact or was stripped for parts by scavengers. But that didn't sit right with me. Arelian wasn't just some engineered war beast. She was bonded to me through the neural lattice, a connection deeper than thought. She used to finish my sentences before I spoke them, hummed when I was anxious, fought like hell when I was hurt. She was more than AI. More than machine. She was alive. I never felt the severing of that bond. It was faint, yes, but never broken. Today, I was dispatched on what was supposed to be a routine inspection of a derelict outpost floating on the edge of nothing, an old fueling station scorched during the last push of the war. I didn't expect much. Until my sensor grid picked up an anomalous thermal signature. A large one. Organic. And there she was. Curled in a perfect spiral on the station's landing pad, half buried in rust and ash, wings tattered and breathing shallow, but steady. She didn't move as I approached, didn't signal. She just lay there. Waiting. Like she knew I'd come back. At first, I thought it was a glitch in the sensor array. A shadow, maybe. A piece of wreckage retaining heat. But then the neural sync channel lit up, just one pulse. Faint, like a heartbeat muffled by distance, but unmistakable. Arelian. Only she could trigger that encryption key. It had been dormant for half a year. I froze, my hands hovering over the console as the cockpit displays flickered. A soft chime echoed inside the hull, 3 pulses, spaced evenly. Recognition protocol. It was how bonded dragons identified their pilots. My mind raced, heart pounding harder than any flight before. It was her. I initiated descent. The gauntlet creaked under the strain of the atmosphere, wind and dust sweeping across the rusted station below. I saw her more clearly now, her scales were dulled, once radiant gold now burned with black scorch marks and streaked with dried oil. One of her horns had snapped clean off, and her left wing was folded awkwardly beneath her. But her eyes? Her eyes locked on my ship the moment I broke the cloud cover. Wide. Still. Unblinking. Not with aggression. Not fear. Just a calm that shattered something inside me. She didn't move. Not even as my struts touched down meters from her. She just watched. I opened the hatch slowly, stepping onto the landing pad like a man walking through a dream. The wind howled around us, carrying flecks of ash and static-charged dust. I took one step. Then another. Still, she didn't move. For 3 full hours, she stayed there. Silent. Unmoving. Watching. Waiting. Like time didn't exist for her. Like all that mattered was that her pilot, me, had come back. And I realized something then. She had never stopped believing I would. The moment I crossed the threshold of the landing pad and stepped closer, she stirred, barely. A slow, deliberate shift of her weight, the kind a creature makes not out of fear, but out of reverence. Her massive head turned toward me, nostrils flaring, drawing in my scent through fractured respirator vents along her jawline. A low, rumbling sound pulsed from deep within her chest, not a growl, not a warning. It was relief. Recognition. I dropped to one knee in front of her, slowly removing my helmet. The moment the neural band made contact with open air, the link sparked, flickering and faint, but alive. It flooded me with fragmented signals, static-laced emotions, broken memory packets, flashes of pain and solitude. I closed my eyes and leaned my forehead against her snout. Cold metal and burned alloy met skin. In that single point of contact, everything changed. The bond re-engaged. Then came the vision. Not words, not pictures, just feelings and echoes strung together in a storm of sensation. Pain. Heat. Falling through clouds of burning gas. The taste of iron in her vents. The shriek of pirates tearing through her plating. Her body crashing into the steel framework of the abandoned station. Broken bones. Twisted hydraulics. Waking up alone. The long crawl into shelter. Patchwork repairs from wreckage. Watching the sky. Always watching. She hadn't fled. She hadn't shut down. She'd survived. Adapted. Held on through hell and cold and silence, because the bond between us hadn't died. She waited every day for a signal. And when none came, she waited anyway. Not because she had to. Because she believed I was still out there. That I'd find her. That I wouldn't leave her behind. And she was right. The air was too still. Too quiet. Even Arelian sensed it, her breath hitched, eyes narrowing as she lifted her head slowly, scanning the cloud-choked horizon beyond the station. My HUD flared with motion alerts. At first, I thought it was residual static from the atmosphere. But no, this was coordinated. Too precise. Too fast. Then the proximity alarm screamed. Inbound vessels, 3 of them. Small, fast, predatory signatures. Pirate corvettes. Their profiles matched the same raiders who had ambushed Arelian 6 months ago. I could feel her body tense beside me, her tail curling instinctively toward her flank, damaged wing pulling tighter. We weren't ready for a fight. Not like this. She was still barely standing. I was outgunned, and they were approaching from the sunward side, classic flanking maneuver. They didn't come to negotiate. They were here to finish what they started. Arelian turned her head toward me, and for the first time in 6 months, the bond clicked fully into place. *** pain threshold override, accepted. Neural sync, stabilizing. Combat subroutines, re-engaging. ***. I tried to stop her. "You're not ready," I said aloud, reaching toward her shoulder. But she had already begun to rise. Slowly. Stiffly. Each movement looked like agony, yet each one was stronger than the last. She let out a sound I hadn't heard since the war, a low, rising growl that rattled through the station like thunder. Her wings flared, one torn and struggling, the other flexing with renewed strength. The pirates hailed me. I ignored them. Because she wasn't waiting for orders anymore. She had made her decision. And with a deafening roar that cracked the landing pad beneath her, she launched into the sky, broken, furious, and unafraid. The hunters had returned. But this time, the hunted was ready. I scrambled back to ***, the gauntlet ***, adrenaline crashing through my veins like a second heartbeat. As Arelian tore into the sky, I launched into a steep vertical climb, engine screaming as we broke through the thin upper atmosphere. I barely had time to sync weapon systems before I saw her, flames trailing behind her fractured wing, eyes burning like molten gold. The lead corvette spotted her too late. She hit them like a meteor. Claws raked through their ventral armor, ripping open the hull with a savage twist. The ship buckled mid-air, plasma coils rupturing as fire poured from the wound. Arelian didn't slow, she spun through the explosion, using the debris for cover. I peeled left, catching the second ship in my sights. Twin railguns locked on, and I fired, round slicing through its shields like paper. The pirate tried to bank away, but Arelian was already there. She slammed into its dorsal fin, crushed its comms array, and drove her tail straight through the reactor housing. The corvette dropped like a stone, trailing smoke and screaming alarms. She fought like something possessed. Broken bones, scorched skin, and yet, she moved with the fury of every silent minute she spent waiting for me. This wasn't strategy. This was vengeance. The third pirate tried to run. I almost pitied them. They barely escaped the blast radius as the second ship erupted behind them, but Arelian didn't pursue. She hovered beside me, breathing hard, wings shaking, engines flickering with exhaustion. But she didn't fall. She just watched the last ship flee. I saw the message in her eyes. Let them go. Let them remember. Because this wasn't a victory she wanted buried. It was a warning. They had taken everything from her once. They would never get the chance again. The battle was over, but the silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. Smoke drifted across the shattered sky, and Arelian hovered beside me, suspended by sheer willpower. Her body shook, each wing beat forced, every breath labored. I could see the toll. Her biogel reserves were nearly gone, and her core systems flickered with red alerts. She was running on fumes and fury. I opened a channel to command. No codes, no clearance, just raw urgency in my voice. This is Pilot Dale of the Gauntlet Star. I found her. She's alive. Repeat, Arelian is alive. We need immediate medical and mechanical evac. You tell them, she waited for me. There was static, then stunned acknowledgement. A rescue team would be dispatched in less than 30 minutes. But even that felt too long. I landed first. The platform cracked beneath my boots. Arelian followed, touching down with the gentleness of a feather despite the weight of her battered frame. Her legs buckled slightly, and I rushed forward, placing a hand against her side. I've got you, I whispered. You don't have to fight anymore. She blinked slowly, the glow in her eyes dim but steady. Through the link, I felt a wash of emotion, relief, pain, and something deeper. Something wordless. Loyalty. She had every right to give up. To power down and fade out like a dying star. But she didn't. Because she trusted me. Even when command didn't. Even when I wasn't sure I deserved it. The evac ship broke atmosphere above us, descending with medical drones and recovery crews. But none of them moved until I gave the signal. I looked at Arelian and nodded. You're not going anywhere without me. We go together. And she exhaled, long, slow, peaceful. She was finally safe. Weeks passed, but the memory of that day never left me. Arelian was taken into a high-security facility for biomechanical restoration, one of the last of its kind, reserved for relics of a war humanity wanted to forget. But she wasn't a relic. She was a survivor. A legend. I visited her every day during recovery. She was sedated at first, submerged in a regeneration tank, her bones restructured, fractured wings reforged with alloy mesh and carbon fiber muscle. Nanits worked overtime, knitting flesh and metal with seamless precision. But her mind, her soul, those didn't need repairing. They were intact. Unbroken. She'd waited 6 months in silence, then 3 hours without blinking, just to see me again. That kind of loyalty doesn't come from programming. It comes from something deeper. Command called me in for debrief after debrief. They ran psychological scans. Asked if I was stable. They couldn't understand how a war dragon would defy survival instincts and remain in one place for so long. She recognized my ship, I told them. That was enough. They wanted to reassign her. Reclassify her. Suggested detaching her from me and repurposing her for intel work. I didn't let them finish. I slammed my fist on the table and told them if they tried, I'd walk, take her with me, protocol be damned. A week later, I returned to the hangar. The massive bay doors opened, and there she was, rebuilt, radiant, and waiting. Her eyes locked onto me the moment I stepped in. She let out a soft, rising hum that vibrated through the deck. I approached, placed a hand on her snout, and felt the link surge with warmth. You waited for me, I whispered. Now I'm never leaving your side. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. We were home.